We're going to give this a B+.
Good call, Lance. Good call.
Austin Corbett is a guy that caught fire at the end of the season, in the offseason. A lot of momentum building for him. This is a guy that was well coached. I like how technically sound that he was. Now, there's a little bit of a drop-off between him and some of the other guys, but he showed up well at the Senior Bowl. Very, very competitive. Has a chance. He should come in right away and compete and should quickly get into the starting lineup.
Yeah, and you know, there are teams who believe that he is a left tackle. Now, he played left tackle at Nevada, and one of the things I like about him is he is a very steady worker there in small, tight spaces. He's also very athletic. Only 19 bench reps. He's not the strongest guy. He's not a great drive blocker. But if they drafted him to be a tackle, he's being drafted to protect, eventually, the quarterback.
And I quickly want to say I didn't like that he played left tackle. I like that you said Nevada. I find myself regularly get ridiculed for saying Nevada instead of Nevada.
Hey, we can give this a solid A for Will Hernandez joining the G-men. Look, a lot of the conversation early in the process talked about the Giants getting a guard at 2. Well, they were able to get Saquon Barkley early, then come back and get Will Hernandez, a guy who I thought was one of the top guards in the process. This is a solid player, blue chip player, a guy that does a great job of moving people off the ball. And when you think about his rugged demeanor, the New York Giants want to run the football. I think this is going to be a guy that helps them get back to being able to run the football at will.
I see you holding one of those paint stirrers there, Lance.
Yeah.
You're gonna flex this thing out, but this is an offensive lineman you like an awful lot.
Oh, man, I love him. He is built like a bouncer, as you can see.
A bouncer?
Yeah, he's built like a bouncer for real, that you do not want to mess with.
For real?
Wide, broad chest, barrel chest, wide. I mean, he's built like a guard. And if you say you want to run the football with Saquon Barkley, well, don't talk about it, be about it. And that's what getting Will Hernandez is. It says we're not going to get cute. We're going to come right at you. This is a very powerful player. His coach at UTEP was Sean Kugler.
Good pick. I give this a B for the Cleveland Browns getting Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a power runner. Actually, he's an old school runner, so it's appropriate that Jim Brown would announce his name. And Nick Chubb, you're talking about a guy that really does his damage in between the tackles. Does a great job of running with power. He finishes, has some explosiveness. The one thing that I worry about when it comes to Nick Chubb, can he be a factor in the passing game? In today's game, most of your bell cow backs have to be able to contribute as receivers. I don't know if he can be a guy that can help you in that capacity.
Darius Leonard, your draft grade.
Hey, here we go, B+. Darius Leonard is an outstanding prospect, outstanding player. Look, I love this. Small school standout, did a great job of dominating in the MEAC. And then when you watch him go to the Senior Bowl, he put on another impressive performance. There you see a 2-time MEAC Defensive Player of the Year. When I watched him at the Senior Bowl, it was the instincts, the toughness, the motor that really stood out to me. This is a guy that can run from sideline to sideline, making plays. He is a disruptor. And when you think about what the Indianapolis Colts want to do on defense, they want to be athletic, they want to play fast, they want to build their defense to play in the dome. I think they added speed, toughness, and playmaking ability with Leonard. Ooh, I love this pick. I think he is the right fit for this offense. B+ from my grade book. Ronald Jones is an explosive playmaker. He is a guy that I had questions about heading into this season, but he played with more toughness, more physicality, showed more home run ability, and he continues to be a very versatile player. Don't get misled by what happened in the offseason. He didn't necessarily thrive and crush it during the combine process, during the pro day. Go all the way back and look at the tape. This is one of the more explosive running backs in college football. He did it on the big stage this year. He really improved on the grass, and I love to see that. Putting him in that offense with those explosive weapons on the outside, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, the tight ends they have inside, he could be a home run hitter. Outside, dark horse candidate for Rookie of the Year. Hey, this is a solid overall pick.
We're just trying to figure it out here. We're just kind of piecing that offensive line
We're trying to
together.
figure out what this offensive line looks like, but I know what it does look like. It looks like a much better offensive line in front of Mitch Trubisky. James Daniel is an ultra-athletic pivot. This is a guy that can get to the next level. He can pull. He can do all the movement things that you want to see. Outstanding athlete. And now in Chicago, because For so long in mock drafts, we always had them taking Quentin Nelson. They need to upgrade the interior. Well, now the interior is upgraded. He goes to center, Cody Whitehair goes to guard, Cal Long kind of bumps out to tackle. This is a team that is trying to really build this offense around their young quarterback. I think they're doing it. And with this coaching staff, I'm excited to see how they go about their business with this spread system.
I do want to mention, he's played guard and center. So he
could be the guard.
Absolutely. He was a guard over there as well.
Whitehair was one of the steals of the draft last year.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, so you got the strong hand Whitehair who can hold up at the point, and then you got the athlete at guard next to him.
You don't like it, huh, Buck?
I'm giving it a B, and this is what I'm telling you. If I'm Demaryius Thomas, you don't notice.
Yeah.
What about Emmanuel Sanders?
But see, if you're going to get someone to replace Emmanuel Sanders, you can get a smaller guy. Courtland Sutton is a big guy. Demaryius Thomas is big, and he struggled the last couple of years. He hasn't played like a dominant #1 receiver. And Courtland Sutton, you're talking about a big-body playmaker, a guy that really gets it done in the red zone. I want to say 34 touchdowns over his career at SMU. Does a great job putting the ball in the paint. Look, still has to work on learning how to play big, being a little more physical. Ooh. I say he needs a little dog in him, but if he ever develops that skill, he could be a terrific pro. Remember, he worked out with Emmanuel Sanders a lot of the time in the offseason. There's a chemistry that's already there, played at his alma mater. I believe Demaryius Thomas, be careful. Courtland Sutton might be coming.
And you know,
take your
Courtland
job.
Sutton, by the way, only the second player drafted in the first 2 rounds out of SMU since 1987.
Ooh.
How about that?
Man.
Harold Landry, Buck.
Harold Landry, I'm going to give him an A- for this pick. Look, this is a guy that I thought could go to Tennessee in the first round. I thought he was an outstanding pass rusher. I love his first step quickness. I love his bend and burst ability. More importantly, I like the way he finishes. Had a disappointing senior season. Had some injuries, didn't play as well, but when you go back and look at the junior tape, it's spectacular. In fact, over the summer, I said he had that first step quickness and bend and burst move that was reminiscent of Von Miller. I believe this guy's going to be a terrific sack artist as a pro. The Tennessee Titans got a stud in the second round.
All right, Buck, side out.
Love it.
To heck with volleyball. Let's go play some football.
Love it. Love it. Versatile athlete. Talk about a basketball and volleyball player in high school. Does a great job of winning his matchups down in the red zone. He is one of these new age flex tight ends that teams are using to create mismatches. I believe he's going to play on the outside. He's going to play in the slot. He is going to wear out linebackers and defensive backs with his athleticism. Has to get better being an inline blocker, but in terms of being a factor in the passing game, oh yeah, he's that dude.
Look, he's not going to get better at blocking. That's not who he is.
And what are you going to do?
That's not what he does.
It's Evan Ingram.
Yeah, and let's take a look at his comp right here. Yeah, and Evan Ingram is just fine.
He ain't going to block.
My comp on him was Jimmy Graham, and here's why. Yeah, no big deal, just Jimmy Graham. But it's Jimmy Graham for a specific reason. Jimmy Graham's out there to catch touchdowns in the red zone and to be a problem in matchups. And that's what Mike Gesicki is. We're talking about a guy who is a sub-4 640. He's got over a 40-inch vertical leap. He's a long strider. So unlike Dallas Goedert, who we'll see later, who's a short strider, he really gains out of his breaks and turns to where he gets separation. And I actually had him as the #1 rated tight end in this class. Now, keep in mind, Hayden Hurst is the best combination tight end. But teams who draft Mike Gesicki are doing it for one reason. He's a matchup big wide receiver in the slot, and I think he's going to be excellent at that. Don't ask him to block, because that's not his thing. His thing is running and catching a football and high point machine, because what sport did he play in high school?
Volleyball. Eagle.
War Eagle. I'm distracted. I had the heartbeat of America. I had a bunch of jokes.
Hard rock and rolls.
But now I'm going. Hey, look, KERRYON Johnson for Auburn. We need to give him his due. Probably didn't give him enough due during the run up to the draft and path to the draft. This is a terrific playmaker. You had people making comparisons to Le'Veon Bell, based on how he can do it as a runner and a receiver. Gus Malzahn raved about his versatility and big play potential. In Detroit, when you're building your offense, you build it around Matthew Stafford. This is a team that hasn't had a 100-yard rush. I mean, they've had a 100-yard rush in like 3 years.
It's been years.
Like, it is crazy.
That's impossible.
Now you get a big-time player, a guy that can do it not only as a runner, but as a receiver out the backfield. Maybe, just maybe, he can crack the 1,000-yard barrier and give the Lions some much-needed balance.
I remember they signed LeGarrette Blount in the free agency period. Amir Abdullah was supposed to be that player.
Oh, the hype bunny.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The hype bunny. I heard Barry Sanders comparisons and everything.
A little bit of that. Has not,
I think Faz may have thrown that out there.
Has not panned out. But you mentioned, Bucky, and Lance, you can build on this perhaps. Just if you watch KERRYON Johnson play, it is almost quarterback-esque, just the tiny little movements in the pocket where he finds those cracks and the patience before he explodes through them.
So he's an upright runner, but he's also a very linear runner who understands how to and he is subtle, like Money says. He's north-south. He's very north-south, but he does have subtle shifts that allow him to squeeze out the additional yardage. He is a lunch pail Detroit kind of guy, to be honest with you. Extremely physical. He had over 100 yards between the tackles against Alabama. And let me tell you something. You have put in a month's worth of work if you try to get 100 in a single game against Bama. We all watched that game in the Iron Bowl, and it was a grind, but it showed his heart. It showed his determination. Now, you do that in the pros, you're gonna play for 5 or 6 years max. But I think what he is and who he is physical. He'll get yards after contact, and he's excellent in terms of pass protection as well. Jarrett Stidham told me I trusted him, with my backside all day long when I was back there passing because he was smart and he works at being a good pass protector.
We'll get you the details. All right, Merton. A little salt there.
A little salt. That's a rivalry. I'm going to give a B-. Dante Pettis is an outstanding returner. He's a guy that can play on the outside edges at wide receiver and make some plays. Does a great job catching the ball, has some catch and run ability. There you see his return ability where he can impact the game.
Only
9 punt return touchdowns. Here's the thing that some people will tell you. The dude is a different animal when he's a punt returner than when he is a wide receiver. Meaning, has a little more grit, a little more toughness when he's back there in the kicking game. You don't consistently see it show up as a receiver, but I will say this. You give him a chance on the outside. He can put the ball in the paint. He does a great job of running routes. You want to see a little more toughness as a receiver, but good pick, helps field position. Another weapon for Jimmy G.
Getting that Iowa cornerback Josh Jackson. Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year.
Hey, look, they should be excited about it. Look, a long, rangy corner. When I'm looking at what they're doing in Green Bay, they're kind of getting back to the roots. Tall corners on the outside. Jaire Alexander on the inside. They need playmakers. They need guys that can hold up a man-to-man. Look, I told you, Mike Pettin is going to put those guys on Gilligan's Island. There's no help. There's no skipper. There's no professor. There's no one coming to get them. They're going to have to be able to lock up and play man-to-man. Like he, Kevin King, Jaire Alexander, those guys are going to have to play man-to-man, and they got to survive out there. We will see if they can do it, but they are adding talent to allow Mike Pettin to implement his scheme.
Buck, great.
I'm going to give this a B-. This is a pick where this is a one-year wonder. A guy that's a bit of a flasher, like the size, like the athleticism. You like to see a little more consistent production. You're the Kansas City Chiefs. You're in the midst of a rebuild. You need a little consistent performance. You're trying to hope that you're gambling on his upside and that he can deliver much like he delivered this season.
Breeland Speaks actually, when you watch him, he really flashes because he can rush a 3-4 end, I think. He can be 4-3 outside, a strong side 4-3 end. This is a guy who was also moving up the charts in a weak DN class.
Look, this is an A all day. They get the perfect compliment to Larry Fitzgerald. Christian Kirk is a pro. He's an all-day sucker, a guy that really loves the game and will do all of the things that you ask him to do when it comes to coming in, being accountable, being a worker. Outstanding route runner, can do it as a returner or as a receiver, can play in the slot, but I think he's more than just a slot receiver. This is a guy that can really, really complement what Larry Fitzgerald offers on the outside.
More than that, he's perfect safety blanket for Josh Rosen. This is what he is. You know how Troy Aikman had Jay Novacek was his safety blanket? You've had Tony Gonzalez. And Christian Kirk is going to get 90 catches a year with Josh Rosen, doink, 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 nonstop. And this is a great pick for Arizona.
I'm probably the easiest grader in the world, but this is a B. And this is a B because there's so much flexibility that Gus Bradley now has at his disposal in terms of how he wants to cobble his schemes.
Because Akers can make them all as far as I'm concerned. What do you got, Buck?
Hey, perfect replacement for Trey Burton. Dallas Goedert is going to get a B+ for this pick. He is outstanding as a flex tight end. When I keep talking about flex tight ends, I'm talking about these guys who can line up all over the place as tight ends, but they're really jumbo-sized wideouts. Does a great job of creating mismatches, catches the ball down the seam. Spectacular playmaking ability, outstanding hands and ball skills. He jumps right in. I like the combination of Goddard, Zach Ertz. Makes it very, very tough on the defense. Hey, this a little puzzling for me. I'm going to give him a B. I like Connor Williams as a player at this point. Second round is a nice value pick. I'm trying to figure out where is he going to play? Is he going to play right tackle? Is he going to play inside at guard? Who are you moving, Leo Collins? I like the emotion, but the one thing that we can be assured of with the Dallas Cowboys, they might run the football on every down because they don't have any pass catchers. So I know I'm not Fabs, but if I'm a fantasy owner, I'm going all in on Zeke Elliott.
Number 1 overall.
Zeke Elliott may get 40 carries a game.
You saying they're going to go Stanford power, 6 offensive linemen?
They might just run it.
Let's
and
do
say,
it.
you know what?
Credit card alignment, let's go.
We don't have any wideouts except Allen Hurns. We're going to go 2 backs, 2 tight ends, 1 wideout, and we're just going to play Stanford ball.
Let's do it.
Connor Williams
I'll sign up for it right now.
This was a freshman All-American at left tackle. He was all Big 12 All-American his sophomore year, and then something happened this year where he just lost some of his mojo the first 2 games. It's hard to say. Some people say he played a little heavier than expected. Now, this was a game that he came back for after an injury, showing a little nasty.
My mistake there. It was Charles Tillman making the selection on Mike Singletary. Give it a B, Buck?
Yeah, I give it a B. This is one of the best route runners in this draft class. Former walk-on, a guy who was a spring champion in high school, does a great job of creating separation. I like his route running ability. I like his playmaking ability when he has the ball in his hands. Little slight, has to be able to handle some of the rigors in terms of being able to deal with bump and some of the contact that's going to take place down the field. But in terms of separating and running routes, hard to find a better one in this draft class than Anthony Miller.
I mean, technically they needed that other outside wide receiver because right now it's Kevin White that's penciled in there. And we know, just the injuries that have dogged him. I know, Coach Nagy said it's a fresh start as far as I'm concerned. You see the talent of the guy, you hope it comes through. But they signed Taylor Gabriel to play that slot. Obviously, they signed Allen Robinson to play on one side. But there was at least a need there after they let Cam Meredith go by not matching that offer sheet.
They had
Can't go wrong with adding explosive athletes to the roster. B+ for this grade. Kamika Toure is one of those underrated pass rushers that is kind of making his way into the league. You like the hands, you like the explosiveness, you like the suddenness, you like what he did when he showed up at the Senior Bowl. I thought he was pretty solid and impressive. This is a guy that has a chance. He looks the part, and at times he plays the part. I think this is a really, really good pick for an Indianapolis Colts team that are looking for more juice on that defensive side of the ball. See?
That's a Virginia guy, man.
Carolina.
it was.
Virginia Cavalier there, Bucky, giving you the business.
Tar Heel. Hey, this solid pick. MJ Stewart is a solid overall player. He's a junkyard dog. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Malcolm Butler, the way he goes about his business on the edge. Tough, gritty, scrappy. Does a great job of challenging and disrupting routes at the line of scrimmage. Would like to see him a little more fluid in some of the things that he does. Like to see him get his hands on his ball more in terms of naturally catching it. But in terms of competing on the edge, he's terrific. He's superb. He do a great job out there in Tampa.
If I ever wanted to see a wide receiver, if he had heart, I just watched a UNC game if they happen to play him. Because, I'm sorry.
See what you did there?
North Carolina. Because MJ Stewart will ruin you off the press. I mean, you better have some quick feet or you better have some toughness to get off press coverage because he is a physical guy. And I wonder if they're going to play him at corner or play him at safety.
Number 1. How about the pick, Buck?
Hey, I like this pick. I like Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates had an opportunity to maybe be considered in the first round. A lot of people were buzzing on him. The things that you like his toughness, you like his range, you like his ball hawk ability. I like the fact that he had baseball background, so you could trust that his instincts when it came to seeing the ball, he could track it. What he has to improve on, he has to be a better tackler. We talked about it. You got to be able to come downhill and make secure tackles when you're a free safety. I think his athleticism will certainly upgrade what they had in Cincinnati. Solid overall pick, and he also goes to a really good defensive back coach. I think we'll see the best out of Jason Bates as a pro.
To me, Bucky, I honestly would I'd give him a shot at slot corner every once in a while because I thought whenever I watched him, his ability to mirror match transition, he was really smooth and fluid. And I'm interested, like Bucky.
All right, we got an LSU Tiger come off the board finally.
Tiger Bait.
There we go.
Hey, nice player, super duper fast. 5'10", 178. I'm worried about the size.
178.
Worried about the size. I think look, the Carolina Panthers want to get faster on both sides of the ball. Dante Jackson obviously gives them more speed. I am trying to figure out how he fits into that secondary. New defensive coordinator, what do they want to do in the back end? Do they want to be a team that presses more, or are they going to play off and do some of the zone things? When you think about him being a nickel corner, great, skill set fits. However, when you're a nickel corner at sub 180, they're going to run the ball at you. Is he tough enough to be a factor in the run game? Your corners that play nickel have to be factors. We'll see if he can hold up for the Panthers.
Oh, you giving it a B?
I'm giving it a B. I heard some stuff.
You giving Duke Dawson a B?
Tyler Warren was still talking to me. Duke Dawson, I'm gonna give him a B. Duke Dawson. Look, I've already made a comparison earlier about Malcolm Butler, but this is another guy. When you look at the Patriots secondary, they're kind of full of junkyard dogs. This is a guy that is very, very competitive. If you talk to DJ and I have talked about him on the podcast, and we said this guy might be one of the best nickel corners that you can find. Yeah. He is perfectly suited to play that role, to play in the slot for the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick has a specialist. I think his specialty is going to be playing slot wide receivers in the National Football League. Oh God. We'll give it a B. P.J. Hall. Look, this is a big, imposing defensive tackle that you put in the center of your defense. Be quiet, man. Look, guy can play on the inside. The Raiders need an interior presence. They need to find someone that can help them against the run so they can get those pass rushing opportunities for Khalil Mack. This is a guy that can help him. Does a great job of pushing the pocket as a pass rusher. Improvement.
You thought he was B.J. Hill.
Yeah, we did.
I did.
I could tell.
So I was getting a little bit.
Well, P.J. Hall had 14 block kicks in his career.
Okay.
And here, you know what this is? This is what this pick is. Straight fire.
Fire?
Straight fire. And you know why?
You know who had a lot of block kicks in his career?
Yes.
Margus Hunt. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember all them block,
did Margus Hunt
block kicks that Margus Hunt had?
Actually, Margus Hunt did do this. His pro day, are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. These numbers, 4'7", 140. Ooh. He had a 38-inch vert.
Hey, now.
He's over 300 pounds. He had a 38-inch vert.
It's impressive.
And a 36 lifts. J.J. Watt didn't do it. Mario Williams is like the only guy that comes close to the workout that this guy has had for a defensive lineman. It's unbelievable what he did, and this shot him up the board. This kind of workout is what Al Davis would have done.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? You said it, because think about Colton Miller. You know, what shot him up?
Great pick. Isaiah Oliver is someone we talked about as a possible first-round pick. When you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they want prototypes in the back end. Long range, guy 6 foot, 201. Does a great job of playing press, man-to-man. In their hybrid cover 3 scheme, they really want guys that can lock up, handle those guys. A former decathlete speaks to his athleticism. He is going to be a nose-to-nose player for the Dirty Birds. Gives them another guy that they can throw out there to lock up those receivers in the NFC South.
Yeah, and you look at both of their draft picks, they're both guys that based on, you know, according to a lot of different boards, Bucky, slid. I mean, you got Calvin Ridley at wide receiver the back end of the first round, and now you get Isaiah Oliver, who was a projected kind of right there at the bottom of the first, top of the second corner, to slide you all the way at the back end of the second round.
I'm going to comp him here with kind of a height, weight, speed comp, and that's Artie Burns coming out of Miami. I think Artie had a little more dog in him as a corner who would get in your face. And Isaiah Oliver, to me, is not quite as sticky in coverage, but what he is, you saw a championship decathlete, he has some tremendous makeup speed, and he's got the ability to get in on plays with those loose, fluid hips. I think you want to put him in someone's face in coverage, and I think one of the reasons he may have fallen a little bit is that he doesn't stay as connected to the routes as you want him to, but a lot of talent there, just like with Artie Burns. They're both just a little bit inconsistent, but they have the height, weight, speed traits that you covet. Second round, though, is great. I agree with Bucky. This is great value for this type of long-armed, athletic cornerback.
Well, and here's the look for DARIUS, guys, selected number 59 by the Redskins, Bucky.
Hey, look, he didn't go where he wanted to go. He ends up going in the second round, but he goes to the right team. We talked about him being a possibility at number 13 for the Washington Redskins. This is an A-plus pick. DARIUS Guice is a first-round talent. He is the perfect running back when it comes to his combination of speed, power, and violence that you want to see. He does a great job of running between the tackles, slips out of contact, finishes in a nasty way. I think the telling thing for me this year, playing with a hurt knee, this guy grinded it out. You look at the tape this year, a bunch of 4- and 5-yard runs. The previous year, he had the explosion. You can see the big plays. He's going to be a terrific pro back. Look, I know he slipped, goes to the second round, but the Washington Redskins got a first-round talent at a value deal. I love this pick. One of the reasons you go to pro days is not only to look at prospects, but to look at how scouts interact with prospects to get it. If you can get a tell. Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert were at the Oklahoma State Pro Day. They spent a lot of time talking to James Washington. If you look at the track record of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have consistently hit on receivers in the second, third round that have become stars. James Washington has the potential to be a star in their system. They just traded away Martavis Bryant. This guy will jump right into that role. Vertical playmaker. He is the best separator that I've seen with the ball in the air in some time. Look, I know the time speed was at that 4.5 pace, but when the ball is in the air, this guy can completely go get it. He is going to be terrific alongside Juju Smith-Schuster, AB. This guy's going to be a playmaker. You better keep your eye on him. Duval.
Hold that tiger.
Come on.
Hold that tiger.
Can't wait to put on my Jacksonville Jaguars hat after this. DJ Chark goes, I'm going to give him an A. They need a vertical playmaker on the outside. Look, it's Blake Bortles' team. He's going to continue to be the quarterback. Well, if he's going to be that guy, continue to surround them with talent. They can run the football all day. So you know what that sets up, money? It sets up vertical, passes off play action. Look for DJ Chark to get over the top of defense. When you turn on the tape, the guy ran past everybody. Outstanding vertical threat. He really helps the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe not a lot of catches, but a big average and a lot of touchdowns.
I was going to say, you just kind of look at here's your comparison. Go through this.
Well, it's Chris Conley, and I think here's the reason why. Chris Conley had some blazing speed, and he ran easy past people. But like Chris Conley and DJ Chark like Conley, there wasn't a tremendous amount of production. And I think the reason for DJ Chark is the quarterback play just wasn't good at all.
Light a pick. Solid. They need to continue to add pieces to that offensive line. Brian O'Neill is a guy that we talked about at the Senior Bowl. He has some nice tools to work with, 6'6", 297, long arms. Does a great job of locking out. He's continuing to make the transition. You talk about being a high school tight end, hooper, still trying to learn the position, but he has a chance. And that's all you're looking for right now. You're looking for a guy with some traits because this class has been underwhelming. He has the traits to grow into the position.
I tell you, I'm really worried about him, and it has to do with strength and core strength and the ability to hold up against NFL power. I love the feet, I love the athleticism, I love all that stuff, but you really have to be able to have a certain level of core power. My comp is Jake Fisher for a couple of reasons. Jake Fisher, when he came out, that's also, by the way, a former tight end. And Jake Fisher was a great athlete and had all this stuff going for him at Oregon, but he's had some issues with core strength as well and pass protection. And I think that's the big concern for Brian O'Neill is can he get bigger and stronger? I almost think Brian O'Neill needs a redshirt year to try to get his weight up to about 308, 310. But there's no questioning his ability to get into space, hit targets on the move. I mean, he's got all that, but you got to get to a certain level of functional strength. And with Jake Fisher, I think that's some of the concerns they have with him in Cincinnati as well. But both athletic, both talented, but you got to put it all together physically.
I like the creamsicle unis.
I love the creamsicle unis. I loved them when I was a kid. Doug Williams, Jimmy Jaws,
right.
Kevin House, Ricky Bell. Hey, Carlton Davis gets a chance to wear the creamsicle sometime
Eric
as
Red.
an alternate.
Bunch of losses.
Look, long press corner, physical. He is going to challenge wide receivers, toughness, and their mentality on the outside. Does a great job putting his hands on people. He will rough you up, beat you up, throw you around. Kind of a bully on the outside. Like this guy. We talked to some DP coaches. They love him on the outside. Surprised that he went this late, but I think he has a chance to be a frontline starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hey, this is a B for the Indianapolis Colts. They want to get a versatile rusher, a guy that can move up and down the line. When I looked at Tyquan Lewis, he's a guy that strikes me as just a power rusher. I didn't know he's from Tarboro. He's from the crib. He's from Kelvin Bryant is from there, Tarboro.
Okay.
Ty Gurley.
Hey, I was going to say it. You just beat me to it.
I didn't get all the way out of the state. Anyway, Tyquan Lewis, when you look at him, power rusher, does a great job with hands, can move inside like you've seen these guys do like Michael Bennett. Because he can play over the guard, I think in a sub package, he can do an excellent job rushing the passer. I don't think he's a high-end double-digit sack artist, but I do think he can be a solid contributor as part of a deep rotation that gets after the quarterback.